today's video, I'm going to show you how to go from this to that. Trailblazer off-road lamps brought to us by Colight LED. Alrighty, so let's open this thing up and we'll see exactly what comes inside. So first things first, they shipped me a very nice wiring harness that came with this. Awesome. It'll make connecting and disconnecting a lot easier. And then let's see what we got in here. Oh, wow. Okay, so it's probably a little hard to tell just based on the video that you're looking at, but these lights look amazing. First of all, they're huge. So these, wow, sorry. These have a great heft to them. They feel, first touch, it feels really, really solid. Get this out of the foam here. Wow. Okay, that's some serious steel on there. Wow. Okay, these just look like they're gonna hold up really, really well. I've had KC daylighters before, and those are obviously a great light. And these have that same feel to them. Like this isn't some cheap metal. This feels really, really high quality. And I'm really excited to get these on the truck. So yeah, let's see what else comes in here. Okay, so that's number one. Comes with a harness. Or, I'm sorry, comes with an adapter here. And I love that all of this wiring is actually encased. Sometimes when you go with an entry-level light, a light that's going to be a little more budget friendly, the wiring is just sitting there exposed, but all of this looks really, really good. The quality's awesome. That's where that connects. It's nice and sealed. Love to see that. I might take this bracket off and paint it black just to blend in with my truck a little bit more. But dag, first impressions, these things are awesome. Okay, let's see what else comes with it. We have some mounting hardware here. Always good to have. And then obviously the second light. One of the first things you're going to have to decide is where exactly you want to mount these things. With any off-road light, you can choose to mount it on your grill. You can choose to mount it on a roof rack or maybe some other location. I went ahead and picked up some whip light mounts, which I'll show you in just a second, because while I don't have space and I don't really want to drill into my bumper here, what I'm going to do is actually hang them from this part of the bumper and have them hanging downwards, and then they'll be mounted that way, and then I can also feed the wire in through the grill and it'll be nice and hidden and we won't see it. So here's what I'm going to be using in order to mount these. You can see it's a whip light clamp kit, and they have different size rubber gaskets within them, and then that way we can fit it to whatever it is we're going to mount them on. So I think I'm going to have this facing outwards, or inwards maybe. We'll see what the spacing looks like with the light there. I don't want to contact my grill. And these things are pretty cool. So as you see, you can put your rubber gasket in there, and they send you a couple for different sizes. Then all you do is we're going to clamp it around there. There's a screw that goes in, and then actually if I wanted to, I can mount my light facing upwards, but I think I'm going to actually have it facing downwards. That's way it's just not over top of the grill. And you can do it in either orientation. Lost a gasket, but that's okay. You could also have it that way with your light then hanging down here. That's always a good idea to go and test fit just before we go and secure anything down. So in order to get this away from my grill so we're not rubbing, I'm going to have it at a little bit of an angle. And then the Colight Trailblazers here have an adjustable an adjustable bracket on the side, excuse me. And so that way I can kind of hang it like that. And that way we're not making contact with the grill and we can still illuminate the road in front of us. All right, so now that I've gotten this about where I think I want it to be, I'm just going to very gently tighten it down. Have my drill on a really low setting here. This way I can still slide this around if I want to once we come around, mount the other one, and kind of figure out our orientation here. Very quickly, let's look at how to actually thread the included hardware through this. So you'll see the mounting points here are kind of square shaped, and you're supplied with a carriage bolt. So that'll fit right in there like that. And then you'll mount it to something, and then we'll go washer, lock nut, and then your actual nut. All right, so nothing is totally secure yet, but I've kind of mocked up how I want it. And what I'm going to actually do is take the wire here and feed it right through the grill. That's the one of the advantages of having this Pro grill. I don't know if some of the other Toyotas have it or not, where you have space back there to feed a wire. But then that way everything's hidden. There we go. You don't have a mess of wires coming out anywhere. You can't even really see it unless you really get close. And then that way it's also not going to bounce around and make a bunch of noise. This quick timeout, I've just decided a personal choice is that I want the brackets on the lights to be black. So first thing I did was I hit them with some automotive primer. They're now drying, and then once they do that, cover them in some trusty bed liner. This stuff is great. I've used it for bumpers and all of that, and it's held up fantastic. So these will be black when they go in the truck. So if you see a little continuity change, that's why. Alrighty, so now we're going to wire this thing up. And because this has a daytime running light, what we're going to do first is add a fuse. And in order to do this, we're going to come into the cabin. You can see I already have one here. Not that. Get out of the way. That guy right there in the middle of your screen. That's actually for my Raptor lights. And I'm going to be getting rid of my Raptor lights because I feel like they're kind of played out. And I don't need them with all these other things lit up. So what I did was I added it to the DRL fuse, which you can find in your manual. Added that piggyback there. And then don't forget, in your piggyback fuse, you have to add another fuse, so there should be two. Your original fuse, which is, we'll swing around here. Your original fuse, which you can see closer to the fuse panel, and then that extra one that we've added. This wire is then run through our firewall. Then you can access that by peeling up your carpet. And then you can see that mine's just kind of fed down through there. But it loops back up right here, get that out of the way, right here, through the firewall into the engine bay, and then that is wired directly to our Raptor lights, and then we're grounded in the engine bay, and I'll show you where that is. So if you've seen my other videos, you know that I like to use this plastic block up here, right above our battery, and our actual fuse bank and all of that here, in order to hide wires, and that's where I ran that Raptor light wire out of originally. And it's a little bit of a mess over here, but you can kind of see it. So that one is our one that's coming in from the cab underneath of here that I just showed you. Sorry, there it is. It's this guy. And then I've grounded it right onto this bolt, which is a ground from your main ground, your black terminal, your negative terminal, which is grounded to your frame here. You can ground it anywhere. Just got to make sure that you're on the frame somewhere. And then that wire is going to run through here. And then I've run it through this gap here. If you're not following, that's okay. It just comes right in through here. And then that bundle is my existing wire for my Raptor lights. This is my Toyota safety sensor. Don't mess with that. This is the Raptor light bundle. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to use the positive and the negative from this one in order to power the DRLs in my new lights from Colight. Now, whenever you're doing any sort of electrical work, please make sure that you disconnect your battery terminals first and then proceed to do your electrical work. Otherwise, you could get an electric shock, and that's no fun. So let's take a look here at the wiring harness that was included with these lights. We're going to start here with the business end. That's going to be the end that actually attaches to our battery right onto the terminals. So our red is going to go to the positive, black to the negative, or wherever you might choose to ground it. Right here we have a fuse, inline fuse. That's nice to have. If you get a set of lights that does not have an inline fuse, you should definitely add one. Otherwise, you can cause some serious problems to your vehicle if you overdraw the circuit. We have our fuse block here. Just going to tell us how this thing all works. Then you're going to have a bunch of wires that come off at the bottom of this. We're going to have the two for our lights, these two big guys, and then the one for our switch, which I'll flip around. Now, you can absolutely use this switch if you want to, if you don't have like a switch bank like I do. And you can mount this wherever you want, and then, you know, it's a simple off, on, off. If you're not going to use the switch like me, and you're going to hook it up to your existing fuse bank, we're going to pull these connectors off of the back. Okay, so I've gone ahead and gotten everything hooked up. We have our red wires tucked in here. That fuse inline fuse is now behind the battery, and then we're grounded over here. And now we have to figure out what we want to do with all of this stuff. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I separate my smaller line, which is going to be for the switch or whatever you choose to connect it to, from the two bigger lines, and then the yellow and white wires, which will be your DRLs. They're all attached to this big chunk of wire here. And my method is I'm going to go underneath of this frame support here, through here and then around behind the headlights, and then we'll find a space to zip tie this all up so that we don't see it. Alrighty, so I've gone ahead and connected that yellow wire so that we have our daytime running lights on. These things are super cool. They're very low power, so that's why you don't need a serious wire to run them. In order to do this, you have a yellow wire and then a white wire. The yellow wire will give you that amber light. The white wire will give you the white LED light. I don't like the white one, so I'm not going to hook it up. Do not connect all of these wires together. If you put all the white wires and the yellow wires connected together and then wire them to something, you are going to melt that wire. That's going to draw too much current, and it might mess with your ground or whatever it is. It might mess with the LEDs themselves. So you can only pick one. Alrighty, so I've got this finally wired up. My biggest question for myself that I was struggling with was, how do I take this normal switch wire that had that rocker switch on it and actually hook it up to my auxiliary fuse box? So here's how it's going to work. Right now it's not pretty, but I will clean up this wire job, I promise. So you have your power, and then you have your yellow light here, which yellow wire here, which is like a logic switch more or less. And with your rocker, when you hit that rocker button, it gives power to both of these. And one lights up the little light that's within your rocker switch, and then the other one tells your relay to turn your lights on. So if you have an auxiliary fuse box like I have, what you're going to do is put your yellow and your red together, put them into the power, and then ground your black wire just wherever you're grounding all your stuff. And again, I'm going to clean all this up, I promise. I know it looks like a mess right now. And to prove that this works and it doesn't catch fire, I'm now in position 4. Sorry, the garage is a mess. Just got married. Nothing is warm. It's always a good idea actually to kind of do this. Nothing's smoking. You'll know pretty quickly. That's why I always keep my handy fire extinguisher with me. And the lights are lit up. Hot damn, they are bright. They are really bright. I can't wait to see these at nighttime. We'll wait till the sun drops. I'm gonna clean up this wire job. And we're good. It's always good to double, triple check everything. Just feel it for any kind of heat. I'm actually going to come back around underneath to make sure our adder fuse isn't feeling too warm. Nope, that's solid. All right, shut that off. So everything's wired up. These are looking awesome. I love how they complement my DRLs and my Morimotos. As you can see, I've also removed my Raptor lights. And now I'm going to show you how to actually aim these so that they can function properly for you when you are off-roading. Okay, so right now you can see the line of my headlights, which is right about there. I have these lights switched on and they're kind of right in the middle. So depending on what you want them for, probably a high beam application. We're going to want them, oops, not that high, that's the bat signal. We're going to want them a little bit higher than our normal lights. And this is where you can also, if you want to, you can spread them out. If you want them to go a little bit more to either side, either a little to the right, to the left. I'm gonna have these slightly above my regular lights. That looks pretty good. I'll come back here and flick on the high beams real quick. Just see how they line up with those. Yeah, so they're right about in the line with the high beams, and that's what I want. Any higher than that, and like I said, you have yourself the bat signal. You'll be shining off of treetops and stuff, which I guess can be fun, but ultimately isn't going to give you much as far as seeing the road ahead of you. So now that we have these aimed, I've just gone ahead and shut them off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and tighten down these bolts so that this thing doesn't go anywhere. And then we're done. We're done. Then we're going to go take this off on the trail maybe and check just how far they can project downrange. so here we are with my stock headlights, and here's with my Baja Squadrons. Shut those off. High beams, and then finally the Trailblazers. Dag. Yep, those don't leave you wanting for much at all. For just a single pair of lights, that is some heavy duty throw. Pretty awesome. Great job, Colight LED. It's really hard to tell, but the trail I'm looking down goes for about a quarter mile, and these things just throw straight down it. Very, very impressed by these lights, especially with the price point. I think these are a fantastic, I mean, I call them an entry-level light because of the price, but as far as performance, they're performing 99% as good as any like super duper expensive light that's on the market. So I'm very, very impressed by these.